Hi guys, Chan Mao here, and today I'm going to show you a brief overview of iTunes Connect and how to create your application in iTunes Connect. So iTunes Connect is basically your portal to delivering your app to the users. It connects directly to the App Store, and it's basically how you're going to control everything. To get here, you can go to developer.apple.com, and there's a link in their quick links section. Alternatively, you can just go to itunesconnect.apple.com and you'll load up this exact same page. So just type in your login details. If you've recently created your developer account, please wait a few days before iTunes Connect will become activated. So once you get to this page, up at the top you have some news, when Apple adds new features to iTunes Connect, releases new artwork. This is where it shows up, so you need to make sure you frequently check this stuff, because sometimes there's some important things, such as when contracts need to be renewed. They'll show up right here, so you can do that real fast. So if you haven't already and you're new to iTunes Connect, you'll need to make sure you fill out the contracts, tax and banking area. That's where you agree to all the contracts, fill out your tax information, and put in your bank account information. I'm not going to even open that tab because it's got personal information filled out there. Just above that are the sales and trends, and when you have an app live in the store, you can see how many sales you're getting, how much money you're making, how many downloads a day, what countries. So that's where you can check that out. I don't have any apps available yet on this particular account, so there's nothing to show there. Below, or a little bit farther down, payments and financial reports, and this is where you can see how much money you made, when you were paid, etc., etc. Below that is where you can manage users. If you're hiring a developer, or if you are working with someone, this is where you can add users to iTunes Connect so they can come in and manage your applications. Also, here's where you can put in your in-app test accounts. So if you have in-app purchases in your app, you'll need to create accounts there so you can test it. Otherwise, they won't work until it's live on the store and there's no way to test it. So make sure you test those out. On the other side, you have the Manage Your Apps area. We're going to get more to that in just a minute. Below that are your catalog reports. Below that, the two sections below that are the developer forums and the Contact Us for iTunes Connect. If you have issues, I highly recommend you go to the forums and post your question there, and you might be able to answer questions from other developers. It's a good way to solve your problems. If that doesn't work, you can contact the iTunes Connect team directly, and you can do that through their Contact Us link there. So today I'm mainly going to be focusing on managing your apps. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And this is where you can create your apps so you can deliver them to the App Store. So to start off with, we're going to add a new app, and that can be done by clicking that button in the corner. If this is the first time you're creating an app, you need to put in a company name. So I'm just going to type in that. And if you're an individual, you can put in your name. Just click continue. And then you'll get to the app information page. So here, you need to select the default language. Then you need to put in the app name, which I've got right there. And then it'll check, make sure it's available. If not, when you put it in here and you hit continue, it'll check to see if the name's available. And notice how I didn't get the error for that. So that's a good way to check to see if your names are available before you put an app into full development. I recommend you just kind of paste in there, click continue. If it's taken, you'll get a message like this. That name you've entered has already been used. So the SKU number can be whatever you want it to be. I usually just type in a few things. And then the bundle ID is what you created in the provisioning area of developer.apple.com. If you haven't seen that video yet for how to create your bundle ID, I recommend you check that out. And you cannot change this once your app has been approved. So click continue. And you need to select your availability date. Now, by default, it's set to whatever today's date is. I highly recommend you change that to some point way in the future. I usually go all the way to the last day it'll select. And the reason why you do this is because when Apple approves your app, it won't automatically get released to the store. Instead, you can go back and change your availability date to the next day after it was approved. That way it'll get a full day of exposure in the App Store at that new releases category area. So definitely want to make sure you do that. Then you can set the price tier. And if you select anything other than free, you need to make sure that your contracts and banking information has been entered. And then just click continue. Then you need to enter in the version number for your app and the copyright. Then you need to select a primary category and a secondary category. And then you need to fill out your rating information. And then after that, it's time to fill out the metadata. Now for me, typically what I'll do is I'll type up all my metadata ahead of time, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to put in placeholder text. You can go back and edit this later, which I'll show you how to do in a few minutes. Then you need to put in a support URL. Once again, I'm just going to put in a some placeholder text. And then you can put in a marketing URL if you want to, and a privacy URL if you want to. Then you need to put in your contact information. Then you can fill out your review notes. So if you want to send a message to your reviewer, or if you have features in your app or certain things that are going to be disabled or enabled, you need to make sure you tell them here so your app doesn't get rejected. If you're using in-app purchases, you need to make sure that you put your demo account for that there. That way they can test the in-app purchases. I don't always do this myself, but I'm sure they appreciate it when you do. You can put in your own end-user license agreement, or you can just use the default standard EULA. Next, you need to put in your large app icon. You also need to put in your screenshots. And once you select your screenshot, you can go back and edit these later. So this is just the same screenshot that I've always used as my placeholder from one of my very, very first apps. So I've just always had that screenshot, so that's the one I use. Alright, so once you've done that, then your app has been created, and you can gain access to managing Game Center, as well as doing in-app purchases. Both of these I'm not really going to go over right now because they do have a coding involvement in order to get them functioning. There are lots of tutorials online that allow you to see what's going on there. You can set your rights and pricing, but if you wanted to set up like a pricing schedule, like if you wanted to be free for the first 10 days and then go up to $1.99, then back to free again, you can schedule all that stuff in this particular module. You can set up the iAd network if your app has iAds. If you're a newsstand app, you can set that stuff there. And if you need to delete your app, there's a delete application button. You also have a link to the App Store for your app. Now, until your app is published, this link will go nowhere. But if it's in development and you need to supply a link for, say, rating your app, you can get it right here under the link section, and then just copying that link address. You can also edit your overall app information here, the SKU, the bundle ID, and the language, as well as you can edit the current version. So you can set your screenshot, You can view a version summary and a status history. You can also edit all of your metadata right here in this particular section by just clicking edit. Same thing with the version information. And you can edit your app in review. You can edit your app review information and your EULA if you decide to add one of those. And once everything's set the way you want it to be, you can click ready to upload binary and then click no and then save, and it'll move your app to ready to upload. You should only really need to do that once you're absolutely ready to publish your app to the App Store, which you'll be able to do with the information that I'm going to supply in a video in the future. So I hope this helped you guys out. Just a real general overview of how everything in iTunes Connect works and how to manage your app. I wish you good luck, and I hope Apple doesn't change anything on iTunes Connect so this video will stay relevant for longer, but do keep in mind that they like to shift things around and make small changes, so hopefully that won't impede your progress too much. You may have to do a little bit of critical thinking to figure some things out if they do move it, but I wish you the best of luck and good luck on the App Store.